Hello everyone, this is Direwolf20 and I'm in a 1.2.5 test world ready to demonstrate Wireless Redstone ChickenBones edition. You guys might know who ChickenBones is. He's the one who's created NEI, Not Enough Items, the awesome upgrade that gives you all the different cool things you can do in game to get different items and whatnot. And he's made some awesome functionality in Wireless Redstone. Now, he had an old Wireless Redstone mod in version 1.81 of Minecraft way back in the beta before it was released, and he's finally given us a great update that allows us to use all the awesome Wireless Redstone functionality that he's implemented. So this is Wireless Redstone ChickenBones edition. Let's check it out. Alright, so getting started here, Wireless Redstone ChickenBones edition basically utilizes a lot of functionality of Red Power 2, allowing a lot of the awesome stuff that Red Power 2 gives us to incorporate into his Wireless Redstone. Of course, you've got your wireless transmitter and wireless receiver. You guys are probably familiar with these. A wireless transmitter will go ahead and transmit a wireless signal. And the recipe here is some stone wafers and wires, an obsidian stick, crafted with 2 pieces of obsidian, and you're also going to need a wireless transceiver for your wireless transmitter, and that guy is an obsidian stick with a Aether pearl. One of those guys is simply crafted with an ender pearl, some glowstone dust, and some redstone. Sweet. And all you gotta do is place them on the ground like so. You can see the transmitter going on the ground right there, and then I'll place the receiver a little distance away. Right click on these guys to open up their interface. You simply set the wireless frequency like you might be used to. Bump it up by 10, bump it up by 1 at a time, 100 or 1,000. Lots of different options there. And, let's go with frequency, I don't know. Let's go with 30. Sounds like a good number. And you'll see it's written on the little palette there as well. So your little panel tells you what frequency this guy's on, which is awesome. And we'll bump this guy up to 30 as well for the receiving end. Sweet. It does connect with red alloy wires from Red Power, which is great. Simply run your red alloy wiring like so. And you can connect things however you want. Perfect. Excellent, simple, straightforward, but that's not where it ends, of course. These guys can also be placed on walls. After all, they're built off of the Red Power framework a little bit, so you can place them on the wall, and you can run your red alloy wiring like so. How cool is that? So just simply activate your redstone signal, and you're in good shape. Of course, don't forget it to bump it back up to frequency 30. How cool. Awesome. Next up, we've got a pretty interesting device. It's called the Wireless Jammer. And what that guy does, crafted with a blaze rod and a blaze transceiver here, needs a blaze rod and a Aether pearl, you place that on the ground, and it kind of acts as a jammer for any frequencies nearby. Now, if you apply a redstone signal to it, it turns it off, indicated by the fact that the little gem on top that's floating there is dim. But turn it on, and let's see what happens. Note this crazy jamming signal will go out, and it has a random chance to affect the wireless frequencies nearby. Let's give it a second here to see it happen, but do be aware that will affect living entities as well, and if you get a little too close, it could hurt you. Oh yeah, look at that, turning them off. And then it's attacking me. Not cool, dude. Note that the frequency jammer has just jammed both the transmitter and the receiver separately. Pretty neat. Now I turned it off with that redstone signal, and these guys have a bit of a delay to get turned back on, and I believe this is a configuration setting that you can make to determine how long they're disabled for. It's a little bit random how often it affects it, but there's some really neat uses in PvP for this. And if we give these guys a few seconds longer here, they should spring back to life. And there we go, you can see the receiver just blipped up a little bit, and the transmitter should come back to life in a second as well. There it is. Alright, they're back. It looks like it was about 20 or 30 seconds that it was delayed for. And since I'm here talking about the wireless jammer, why don't I show you the REP device. This REP device, a couple blaze transceivers this time, another one of those Aether pearls and some obsidian is pretty neat. Simply throw it, and it'll disrupt any nearby wireless frequencies. So let's stand back a little bit and give it a toss. Ta-da! Just disable them. Nice. And they'll stay disabled for a little while longer. This thing, again, is probably more useful in multiplayer than single player, but just imagine all the fun and havoc you can have on a multiplayer server with this kind of mess. And a little bit more on the REP device. If you have multiple ones in your hand, when you launch one, you can right-click again to detonate it immediately. So that is really neat. It does a great job at disabling nearby wireless frequencies, but it also does a good job against enemies. It'll hurt them, as well as you, just a little bit. And I can only imagine that this works pretty well in a PvP server. So lots of fun on that guy. Definitely would be neat to run around and zap people's wireless frequencies and stuff like that. Alright, so now that I've showed you guys the basic functionality so far, I'm going to move on to some of the more advanced options available to you. If you were paying attention when I opened up this interface here, you notice this big, huge advanced button that I completely ignored. Well, if I click it, whoa, we get this massive crazy thing, and you can see I was already doing a little bit of testing with it. You do not need to stick with just numbers with your frequencies. You can also name them and assign them a specific color. So let's check this out. So, maybe you don't like clicking buttons all over the place. In order to get where you want to go, you can simply type in the frequency. Let's type in frequency 1234 and set it. Alright, now this wireless transmitter is set to frequency 1234. A lot easier than clicking these buttons to change the frequency, that's for sure. But let's go with frequency, 25. Sounds like a good frequency to go with. Now, if we wanted to, we could just leave it as so, or we could set a name for this frequency. Maybe we want to remember what our frequencies are based on their name rather than their number. So we're going to assign a name to frequency 25, and I'll just call it, nuclear reactor. I don't have Industrial Craft installed yet, but maybe I'll need to in the future. And I can set the name. And finally, I can set a specific color to this if I want. And if you can see, I'm clicking through this little arrow interface here to change the different colors. The reason for that is I have 3 pieces of Lumar in my hotbar here, in my inventory. And if you get more Lumar, you can choose whatever colors you want, really. But I just placed 3 in here to show you. So, let's go back to number 25 here. This time I'm going to call it, in fact, I'm really just going to stick with demo. So demoing the name setting of frequency 25, and let's give it a color of green. So I'll set the name, and you could remove it if you want to remove the name of demo from frequency 25, and I will give it a phase shift of the color green. So you can see the spectrum now is turned to green. Now these are just for aesthetic purposes. There's no change in the way any functionality occurs. We're just saying that frequency 25 is now named demo and has a green spectrum. Alright, so what's the purpose of that, Direwolf? Well, now that frequency 25 is called demo, let's go over here to our receiving end. You can see demo is available on the list. If I just double click it, it automatically changes it to frequency 25. How cool is that? So if I don't remember exactly what numbers I've assigned to my wireless frequencies, I can just run over here and double click on something, and I'll be like, oh right, that's right, I made it 25. Cool, let's stick with that. Awesome. And one other thing to note about the interface here, especially the advanced one, is that if you have a long list of frequency names and you don't feel like scrolling through them all, you can start typing the name up here, and they'll both be highlighted in the list and brought to the top. So if I press the letter T, note that test is a little bit highlighted there, and it stands out from cow and demo, and it also brings test up to the top. And I can do the same thing with D to bring demo up to the top. Now there's a couple other pieces of functionality that you can go along with this. One of them is with the triangulator. The triangulator is cool. It's basically a compass that points at any wireless transmitters nearby. If I shift right click on this guy, you can see that the wireless triangulator interface opens up and looks just like one of the interfaces we saw before. If I want to track down something on the demo wavelength, I can do that. Note that the color of my little compass here is turned to green because we're on the green wavelength, so that's cool. And you can see it's pointing me in this direction. Ah, there we go. It's right there. Sweet. There's the transmitter. Awesome. Now we've also got the wireless remote, so I'm going to turn this guy off. Again, shift right click to open up your interface. And if we put it on the demo frequency, number 25, you can see the remote also turns green to indicate that we're on a green frequency. And if I hit the right mouse button, note that it's turning on the signal as long as I hold down the right mouse button. So as soon as I let go, it turns off the signal. If I just click it, it pulses. If I hold, it holds. How neat is that? I love it. Awesome. And shift right click again to go ahead and change the frequency. Sweet. Next up, we've got the wireless sniffer. This guy is also really cool. You can just right click on your wireless sniffer and it'll show you all the frequencies that are currently in use. So you can see I was playing around with frequency 10 at one point, frequency 100, and I named that cow. And then I've got frequency 25, which I named demo. So you can see with the borders here, it shows you which frequencies you've used. And I actually assigned 10 to a color red, which was probably not the best color to use. You can probably barely see that, but I don't think I named it. I think I did name number 1 test. So pretty cool. And you can see whether they're currently active or not by looking at this. So frequency 25 has been assigned a green color and is named demo, but it's not on at the moment. If I turned on my wireless little guy here and open it up, you can see the light is now lit up, showing me that frequency 25 is in fact active. So cool. And also please note that the wireless sniffer here activates in real time. So as you can see, right now frequency 25 is off. But if I were to watch as it turns on, note that it's active. So the wireless sniffer is a real-time thing that can automatically detect what frequencies are turned on and updates in real time. Another little interesting tidbit here is the wireless tracker. You can see the recipe for this guy right here. You're going to need a slime ball. And if we shift right click on this again, we can go ahead and set a frequency for the wireless tracker. Let's stick with 25 on the green spectrum as usual. And I'm going to run over and find something here to go ahead and track. Let's see what I can find. Hey, there's some sheep. I'd like to track those sheep. So all I'm going to do is run over and throw the wireless tracker at the sheep. Ta-da! And the tracker sticks to them. Look at that. How cool. And in tandem with the tracker, of course, we're going to want to go ahead and check out this guy. You can see the wireless triangulator is pointing at the sheep now. It'll point at the nearest source of a frequency. So if I head towards this wireless transmitter on 25, you can see as I get closer to it, it's going to go ahead and point at it. But as I get closer to the sheep, it's going to go ahead and point at the sheep. So the fact that I use the same frequency for the two transmitters is why we're locating two different things. Of course, if I use separate transmitter frequencies, it would have probably been a better idea. Another good thing you can do to track down your sheep or any other wireless transmitters is to go ahead and make yourself a wireless map. And if we look at our wireless map here, and you'll want to craft it because pulling it out of NEI doesn't really work, just like with normal maps, you can see this neat little interface. It looks like a normal map, but note that there's some green colors on it. Cool. And you can see those little green dots are where the wireless transmitters are. So wireless frequency 25 was green, and you can see that on your map. There's the little green dots. And there's another one off in this direction, it looks like. Yep, makes sense. Now you might be wondering, hey Direwolf, what's this little red dot over here? Well, let's fly over and find out. Oh look, there's a cow. That's right, I did attach a wireless transmitter to a cow prior to recording this video, and that's why I had a frequency named cow. Makes sense now, doesn't it? I bet you guys were all looking at it saying, hey, what's up with cow? And I went ahead and tagged a bunch of different animals all around the map with a yellow indicator, and if I check my wireless map now, you could see a bunch of yellow dots all over the place. So you can really have a bunch of those little tracking devices all over the place to track different animals or different items or players or that kind of thing. So as you can see on my map, a bunch of different yellow guys. Cool. And you should note that wireless trackers will stick to players. Simply, I'll toss it on the ground or something there and run over to it. Make sure you give it a frequency. Let's just use 10 for now. And if I walk over it, it'll be stuck to my character now. And I could track myself, which wouldn't be all that useful, but you could track other players on a multiplayer server and find your way to their secret hidden base by chance. If you do get one of these guys stuck to you, simply either use a sticky piston or use a lighter to light yourself on fire. So if you use a sticky piston here, you can go ahead and get it off by activating with a lever. Ta-da! You could also, like I said, catch yourself on fire, and that would knock the thing off as well. The other option for getting these little sticky things off you, as I mentioned, was to light yourself on fire. Simply get caught in a fire, and as soon as your character catches fire, it'll drop those items on the ground. And then you can go pick them up again. There we go, right back in my inventory. And finally, I'd like to show you guys the private sniffer, crafted with some of those Blaze transceivers. This guy is not the same as a regular wireless sniffer, and in all honesty, it doesn't have much use in single player, aside from working just like a normal sniffer, as you can see. But in multiplayer, there is some good use to it. The fact of the matter is, multiplayer, there's a lot of really cool options for server admins when it comes to wireless redstone. In multiplayer, there's actually 3 different ranges of frequencies. The public range, which is frequency 0 through 1000, which anyone can use. And then there's the shared range, which is frequency 1001 through 5000. And those are like public frequencies. However, a player can use the private command, and a frequency can be locked down just to that player. And then there's op-managed frequencies, where the ops of the servers can actually assign frequencies to individual people. And use of the private sniffer on a multiplayer server will allow you to mouse over and see which frequencies you're allowed to use and which ones are in use by other players. Pretty cool. And do note that you don't need to be an op to set your frequencies to private if the server is configured that way. So just keep that in the back of your mind. You don't need to make it an op if you want to have some private frequencies, which is a really cool feature. And guys, that about wraps it up for the wireless redstone ChickenBones edition. Really pretty nice looking. I like the appearance of the stuff, and I like the ability to name and color code your frequencies. That wireless tracker thing is pretty neat, especially in combination with the wireless map, the triangulator, and I really like the wireless remote functionality, being able to hold down and keep a redstone power signal applied until you let go of the mouse button. So many cool things. The other stuff listed in here are just components of the recipes for items, so keep that in mind. It comes with its own built-in add-on for NEI if you're using NEI, so it makes it really easy to track which items are from wireless redstone ChickenBones edition. And it's really cool on servers. I personally would love to get on a server at some point using this mod, and who knows, maybe in the future when I do some kind of server let's play, who knows, maybe I'll get on one that makes sure it has this mod, and I could go running around throwing jammers at people and tracking them and leading them back to my base, and me getting led back to their base. So that would be awesome. So a really cool mod, an excellent job done by ChickenBones. Can't wait to start using this guy. It will be part of my Let's Play series. And this is Direwolf20 signing off on Wireless Redstone ChickenBones Edition. You can go find it on the forum post linked in the video description. Take it easy, guys.